little known secret is that actually Bill has served on the board of Artists Trust in the past. We're still trying to work Ruth onto it.
Wait, where's Tim?
Tim Detweiler?
Yeah. Tim, will you try and turn the Suja down?
That's one of the fabulous artworks that Bill referenced.
I just decided Tim's
Tim's our tech guy.
Yeah. Tim is the evening tech guy.
But we also have a special guest with us this evening, which is Roy McMakin over here in the corner. Roy is the architect, designer, and artist of this fabulous home, and a well-regarded artist living on Vashon, so you'll have a chance to chat with Roy as well. And tonight we have a lot of great artists in the room. We've got great art supporters, we've got great Artist Trust staff and board members. So I want you all to kind of introduce yourselves to each other, find out what common denominator you have with Artist Trust, and it has to be me. And if it isn't, okay, then you need to introduce yourself to me. So I just wanted to mention a little bit about the auction, because that is the reason we're gathered this evening. This is our kind of pre-auction event where we invite our great friends and supporters to get a little preview about what this fabulous night is all about. The auction for Artist Trust is our signature fundraising event of the year. We aren't a presenting organisation, but we really are here to support the artists. And so about 25% of our annual budget comes that night. Can you see me sweating? Perspiring, I mean, I don't sweat, I perspire. You glow gently. Yeah, I glow gently. In any event, so it's a big deal for us to have a full house, to have really people engaged in the fabulous artwork. You'll see some of the slides here this evening, just to give you a taste of the wonderful work that the generous collection of artists have given to us this year. The origins of this auction actually go back to 1987, when the organisation was founded, and the artists in our region prepared these beautiful little valentines. Anybody here for that first auction? A couple of people going, I learned that.
Don't you think so?
Yeah? All right, so maybe that was the first auction you might have contributed to. So,
Not the first one I contributed.
So it's always around kind of the Valentine's Day period of the month of February, and that kind of talisman was to have the artists contributing the love and the value they had in contributing to the wellspring of creativity in our region. So that's the origins. Fast forward 24 years later, and we're still working this amazing event to introduce artists and collectors to each other and find ways for people who may not be big collectors to have a point of entry into leaving in the evening with something precious and something wonderful for them. Next year, okay, so this is our 25th, that means 2012 is our 25th anniversary. Big milestone for the organization, so we'll be celebrating our silver anniversary in myriad of ways, so stay tuned and please be involved with us and stay connected. I wanted to recognize our fabulous co-chairs for this year's auction. Charles K. Sedlick is here and Kevin Kudo King. So they, along with a great committee, have done the yeoman's work over the last 5 months of organizing this event, and it's a Herculean effort in many ways. If either of you want to mention how bad it was to work at I mean, how much fun? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, wonderful. It's been great. You guys just come. We're going to have such a good time.
So we do have about, I'm not joking you, I think about 20 tickets. Is that right, Pat? We have like 20 tickets left for that site.
9 tickets.
I heard.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If you haven't already met Pat Bingo, Pat, can you just wave your arm for a minute? If you haven't met Pat and you don't have your ticket, please see her tonight.
Yeah, grab her.
And tell your friends also, if they say, oh, I'm at your table, you reserved that ticket for me. If they haven't paid, they may not get in. We're going to be hardcore. Okay. So we'll tell you more about the evening as we're mingling and chatting, but I did want to just ask Ruth for a second if she wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more about your collection here and what inspires you both in your art collection.
I'm usually pretty good at this, but I'm a little overwhelmed tonight. Wait, can you can.
Sidebar.
Bill, take over.
This is a little more important than art, and I just would like to mention that Fidelma told me a secret tonight, and if you all haven't heard, I believe they are going to be parents. And I got to say that is just, I mean, Art smart, So, congratulations, cheers.
Okay, so our little art creation.
the picture over there.
Now, we're welcoming a little beautiful 18-month-old girl, and her name is Gina.
Sorry. You know, the one thing about art and Artist Trust and things that we love, and that we love about this house, is that it's all created so beautifully by different people and different personalities and different inspirations. And so that Artist Trust is run by such a phenomenal person that really Roy should talk about the house tonight more than we should talk about the collection. I can't even remember anybody's name tonight. I can tell you what the artist ate, a year ago, but I can't tell you their name. I'm just having a bit of a brain freeze. But preaching to the choir here, and we just love sharing art and collecting art and meeting artists. And as Janice was mentioning, somebody else's line from tonight is collecting artists. So, in that realm, we were also very privileged to have the opportunity when we met Roy about 10 years ago or so. It only seemed fitting to have an artist build our home rather than an architect. He certainly works with an architect and such, but the process of enjoying art in a home built by an artist has just been a real treat. So feel free to ask us questions about the pieces. I can probably tell you nothing tonight. Tomorrow I can tell you a lot. But really, what I would like to do is pass this on. If Roy wants to talk briefly about the moment version of building a house. So thank you all for supporting Artist Trust, and for we all, and loving Fidelma and the excitement in her life, and heavens knows, we also have 3 dogs, 5 chickens, 6 chickens, 2 cats, and 5 children. Yes, we have a lot of art, but there are many other things. I mean, it's supposed to be all about the art, right? But, the truth of the matter is it's about the creative process.
I, of course, will talk about Bill and Ruth and their collection.
No.
No, I think, just to emphasize something that Ruth said that I think is true about not really collecting art, but collecting artists is really the core of their idea of collecting, which I don't really think is collecting. I think that they're just enabling art to exist, because they buy on the primary market from art that's being created. They're not trying to build a collection from objects in their world and seeing how the objects relate. They're really interesting how the objects are connected to the people that make them and the times that we live in. So I think it's like collector is a big crazy word like art, that there's all kind of nuances of it, but I think what they really do is support the creation of art, because they realize that that's a deeply important cultural endeavor that moves the world forward, and they both do that for the world but do that for themselves, and this symbiotic relationship that everybody gains from and grows from. So that is what we were trying to say about the collection.
Talk about the house.
So the house is really just I think the best way to think about that house is that I was I was talking to people earlier this evening that I learned a lot about what architecture was from living in some great architecture, which was primarily an architect named Irving Gill, who worked in Southern California, and then I happened to live in Restore's house, but I also lived in a really wonderful Ellsworth story house when I first moved up here. So I had the ability to live in really great architecture, which I realized that I think great architecture is about the balance between architecture as an object and architecture and something as an experience, and how the experience choreographs your experience. So I was having gotten to know Bill and Ruth through doing Western Bridge, which was done before here, I realized that it was a really fascinating challenge as to how to create this house for the two of them, because they're very different people, in the sense that Ruth never stops moving and Bill never stops thinking. So, but he's not moving while he's thinking. So how to create a house that is, both of those things. So the house, as you see, there's 2 stairwells, there's many different ways to get in and out in every room, and there's really, I have just really a map of all the ways to get around, but you can just keep moving in this house should you choose to. But there are some really very, it's kind of specific ideas that I was trying to do in this house, which was essentially to take a traditional house, specifically the house that existed on the site when they bought it, which we all loved, but which wasn't feasible to save, and how to recreate it, but create it as almost like an organic living thing, that the house kind of bends around to the front courtyard and creates, when you come in through the little, that this is this 1.5 acres in this wonderful spot in Seattle in the world, that you just kind of enter into it, and you enter this kind of womb-like kind of enveloping courtyard with the house kind of bending around to that courtyard. But that same bend that creates the house, the kind of enclosure when you enter, then the inverse, the opposite of that curve, is the arc that creates the expansive panoramic relationship to the incredible view that you can't see. But the view like this really points
let me tell you,
straight to Mount Rainier. And this house actually goes pretty much a precise 90 degrees from the entire arc of it. So there's also this experiential thing where you're bending 90 degrees, but you don't quite realize you're going that far, but yet you get these kind of strange vistas that you're looking, you look straight because that's where you look, but yet you're looking at in a bend. So it is this kind of conundrum of a house. So that's the Bill part to think about, and then the Ruth part is that she's moving around. And then a big part of my idea of architecture is also how it exists in time. So the idea was, somebody I talked to earlier this evening actually thought it was maybe the original house that had been here that we had, altered, but yet I think if you look at it carefully, it's, exceedingly contemporary. So it exists in this funny place, which my goal in architecture to a certain degree was how to transcend the relationship to time, was to kind of face history, face the past, and by kind of staring that down in a very current way, you somehow leap forward beyond the past and even the present to where the house feels current whenever you're in it, was my goal. Whether I do that or not remains to be seen. But anyway, thank you.